My name is Lola Brown. My project is called The Declining Christianity, and it's a documentary exploring the reasons as to why religion has significantly declined in the United Kingdom today. At the beginning of this project, I had known that I definitely wanted to base my production on something that was religion orientated, seeing as it is a topic that I'm very passionate about. Originally, I had decided that I would remake and modernize the Bible story of Job, in which I based my initial pitch on. In this initial pitch, I did a synopsis where I talked about what I was going to do, the target audience, who I thought it was going to benefit, and what I was trying to portray and what message I was trying to put across. However, as the project progressed and time was going, I had realized it would have been very difficult for me to have completed it, seeing as I would have had to try and cram a very long Bible story into a 10-minute production, which would restrict the time that I would have wanted to spend on the message that I was trying to portray. However, I then decided to change the idea of a documentary whereby I'll be investigating and challenging the reason as to why there has been a significant decline in religion today. So if I go to the context folder, this is the proposal of what I intended on doing and what I did do in my project. So the section 1 is the rationale, where I talked about what skills I have developed over this course, what I took from it and how I know that I can use it in the future. Section 2 was the project concept, which was basically just me explaining my idea, how I intended on achieving my idea, and like how I would reach the goal that I had set for myself. So I decided that I was going to create a short poetic documentary where I'll be exploring the reasons behind the significant decline in Christianity in the UK. I was going to do this by doing research by visiting different religious institutions to grasp a better understanding on why there has been a decline in the number of people following and practicing the faith. I intended on mainly going to focus on Christianity and trying to find out why it's no longer the main religion in the UK today as it was once before. I also had the intention of trying to establish what could be done to try and revive the faith and spirituality to provide a sense of belonging and reassurance, and see whether it has a link to the increase in ethical issues that have taken place in today's society. I aimed to visit the church and have a conversation with the priest to see what his opinion was on this specific topic. I also tried to establish what could have been done to revive the faith and spirituality to provide a sense of belonging and reassurance. The statistics show that there's been an increase in mental health issues. I did have the intention of visiting a mosque and a synagogue as well as the church. However, I didn't really think it would be relevant because if it was to do with Christianity, I didn't really want to cause any offence by talking to people of other religions, if that makes sense. Yeah. Moving on to my schedule. I believe that my schedule was very, very detailed. It wasn't a fact that I just did my schedule in one go. As time went on, I kept on writing down what I had done during that day, so that I can kind of keep on top of what I was doing and kind of help myself to stay a bit more organized. So things were things were in order of what I had done. So this is what I had done. So I properly started my FMP on the 21st of January, where I began to document what I did and how I did it. So for instance, during the first week, I came up with a theme, and I also came up with an idea, and I had done my proposal on this day. I don't have college on Fridays, so I also write down what I did on the Friday, if I came in and if I didn't come in. Yeah, as I said before, my schedule was very, very, very detailed. I did this so that I could literally just keep on top of my work and know exactly what needed doing and what had been done, so I can, tick it off my checklist. In terms of this schedule, I think one of the things that I found very successful was the fact that, one, it was very detailed, as I said before. But one thing that I did find unsuccessful was I feel like it lacked like it didn't have specifics in there. Like I would have liked although it was detailed, I would have liked it to be a bit more detailed. I would have liked myself to, write how I felt that day. And although that's meant to be written in a reflective journal, I feel like it might have been necessary here too, so I can kind of like back things up. Also, I would have liked to have updated like the solving log. I would have liked to also have updated it inside of the schedule as well. Moving on to my pitch. So this is the pitch that I had done for the final project, the final idea that I'd come up with. It's just explaining what I did, target audience, where I intended on filming, and how I intended on getting my research and the duration, just everything that needed to be known. I also described my hooks and themes. The hooks and themes included religion, perseverance, family, faith, reality, wealth, contentment, affliction, adversaries, long suffering, doubt, and love. I had also taken screen grabs of my schedule and put them inside of my pitch. So not only would I have it there, I would also have it here as well as a form of backup. I looked at similar productions and I took a lot of ideas from the similar productions. Some of the questions that were asked in the second video that I referenced, some of the questions that were in that video I actually used in my video, because I thought the questions were they weren't too personal, but it was good enough to get an answer and a response that I would have needed to successfully complete my my film and the interviewing part. So this is talking about the target audience. The target audience that I targeted was people from the ages of 16 to 34, as this is BBC Three's target audience, and that was also the group that I wanted to target as well. Statistics show that this is the most common age group for people who identify as atheist, which means they don't have a faith religion, which is good because it allows me to get an opportunity to understand their opinions and for them to also understand other people's. Moving on to the target audience profile, as I said before, the target audience is similar to E4 and BBC Three, hence why the age is there. YouTube and Netflix are also the most popular common streaming platforms, and that is why I would also like to publish the video onto YouTube. It's for social media users. It's also for people who may be trying to find God, as I put this in my primary research, what I'll get to into in a bit. It's for non-religious people or religious people. Doesn't really matter because it doesn't offend anyone. It's just a bit of it's just a video to kind of enlighten people and kind of educate them. So this is talking about my primary research. I have decided to create surveys using Google Forms. I have pitched my idea to fellow classmates in order to receive extra information and feedback. I've also conducted Vox Pops so that I get a better idea of what people actually want to see and how they view this topic. I also intended on carrying out interviews with people to get information and statistics on my film, in which I did, and I got some very, very good feedback from that. The secondary research that I intended on using was mainly online statistics and YouTube videos. I feel like it's the best way for me to get information personally. Similar productions were also a very good way for me to get inspiration. I looked at books, but not a lot of them were written recently. And that's what I mainly want to focus on, the issues in today's society rather than issues that may have been faced many years ago. So the contributors, due to my documentary being about religion, Christianity in particular, I have decided that it would have been appropriate for at least one of my contributors to be a member of the church, either being a high member such as the priest, and a bishop, or even a member of the congregation. This was just because I would have liked to get primary research and see exactly how people felt as the people who go to church and what they thought about people declining Christianity and how it could potentially affect them. I also wanted to interview random members of the public, which I did, to avoid getting biased answers and reports. The equipment that I used was as follows: a video camera, a microphone, a tripod, and the appropriate lighting. So the appropriate lighting was only used in situations whereby I was filming inside, because I filmed on very, very sunny days. I checked the weather forecast before, and yeah, I filmed on very sunny days, which didn't require any kind of special lighting. I didn't really have a budget at all, so that's irrelevant. The location was Barnet. So everything that I filmed was in Barnet. I wanted to stay local, and I wanted it to kind of be close to home. And yeah, that is my pitch. Moving on to my research. So this is the introduction, just talking about what I wanted to do. This is the workflow. I think the workflow helped me a lot. It helped me to refine my thought process. It helped me to understand what has been done and keep on track of the work that I still needed to do. It helped me put things into a clearer view, and it kind of gave me order. It helped me. So say for instance here, this was what needed to be done next. Like these were the next steps to be taken. I couldn't go on to the next step without completing all of these things first. Therefore, I thought that yeah, this was very good for me because it helps me to remain organized. This is my primary research. I did some notebook research where I created a mind map and proposed ideas and presented it to my friends and my classmates. They helped give me ideas on what they wanted to see and how they thought it could look good in the production that I wanted to do. I also did some questionnaires. I thought the questionnaires were very, very helpful for me because not only did I get answers from people I knew, I also got answers from people that I didn't know, which kind of, it was good because when you get feedback from people you don't know, it kind of lifts you up a bit more. It's kind of more honest answers. It's not exactly what you want to hear, it's things that you needed to hear. So I'm very, very happy with the primary research that I got back. However, if I could change anything about the primary research in terms of questionnaires, I would have changed the quantity and the type of people I asked. I would have made sure that it was even male, female, Christian, non-religious, rather than just sending it out to anyone. So I would have liked to, kind of have a main idea of who I was sending them to. I also did focus groups with my peers. They helped to give me some constructive criticism. They also made me aware that this specific topic that I've chosen to do on my FMP was quite unique, as it had not been discussed much in today's society, and how there is a lack of voice in today's generation to inform and educate people on religion in their age group. Overall, I believe that I've chosen an appropriate topic to base my FMP around. My reason for thinking this is because after receiving feedback via surveys and questionnaires, I now know that my chosen topic is appropriate for all my targeted audiences. I also believe that the content that I intend on incorporating will be interesting to my target audience. The feedback that I have received assures me that I can successfully create an informative film piece. I also know that I can submit my work into different competitions in hope to either get positive or negative feedback to see what I could improve on and how I can make my production any better. So moving on to secondary research, I basically got some information from the internet and I wrote my opinion alongside it as well. So it talked about like how religion has declined, what could have triggered it, things that happened in history that could have made there be a fall in religion. So for instance, here there are some statistics showing the percentage of religion that had declined and the year. So as you can see, it keeps on falling and going up, falling and going up, which kind of gave me the idea that it's not always gonna stay at the same level, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't always go up, it doesn't always go down. And yeah, as the years go on, it does get significantly lower, the percentage, which is quite alarming, but yeah. So I also did things whereby I wrote why I conducted the research and how I apply it to what I've learned in my projects. I found that this was very, very helpful because it kind of put things into a bigger perspective. It kind of helped me know exactly why I was doing the research rather than just the fact that, I wanted to do research just to get it there for research's sake. Like I wanted to know if the information that I was putting into my FMP was appropriate. I did some historic research, etc. The research that I had done had helped me to develop my work significantly. Yeah, I effectively carried out the relevant research that was necessary. So my primary research consisted of questionnaires and focus groups, which I thought was very good as it helped me to really get a feel of what people wanted to see and how they would have liked me to put the message across. I learned a few new things from my primary research, such as how a lot of people think that the main reason as to why people are not religious anymore falls down to responsibility of parents, and how the lack of religion is more blatant in the younger generation. When it came to secondary research, I used mostly news articles because I wanted people's opinions and real information rather than conspiracies. I was very familiar with all the research methods, including visual, production, research, hence why I did it with no hesitation. So this is the target audience. This is the visual research that I did. This is also some visual research. So this is from workshops that I'd done in the class. I feel like the research that I've done throughout the duration of this course was carefully examined and evaluated to a standard that I know was expected if I wanted to achieve a high grade. Although in the end my primary research was successful, I found it difficult to get responses and feedback, which seemed to be the only thing that stopped me from progressing as quickly as I wanted to, which then also pushed me back quite a bit, because although I would keep reminding people and encouraging them to fill out the questionnaire, it wasn't filled out by the time I wanted it to be filled out by, which was a bit annoying, but I managed to make do the quantity of feedback that I had received. So this is all the research that I'd done. This is the production research. And then I'd made sure that I'd got my conclusion in there. And I'd also done all my references here at the bottom as well. So this is all the articles I'd used, all the websites I used, like even the music I used for my film piece, the rates that I got for my budget research, up to the extent where I had used the reference of the website that I used to create my workflow, which was shown at the beginning. Okay, so moving on to my problem solving log. So when it came to my problem solving, I initially felt that everything that I didn't really have a problem and things were moving quite swiftly. But once I'd begun my animatic, I began to see where potential issues may have arisen, and I used this opportunity to try and fix them before they had the chance to arise when I started filming. However, there are many issues that arose that were beyond the prevention of an animatic, such as SD card problems. So I had a few SD card problems, weather issues. I found that writing my problem solving log helped me to see exactly what kind of problems I faced. And in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't as bad as I initially thought. So yeah, this is my problem solving log that I filled out in quite a lot of detail, and I'm very happy I did do this because it helps me to try and prevent things from happening again. And yeah, moving on to my planning and production work. So this is all of my production paperwork. I started my budget research. This is the budget research that I had done. I felt like it was very, very effective. It gave me a good idea on how much things would roughly cost. So I've got the Bec2 rates, I've got the camera person rates, I've got how much it will cost for lighting, grips, budget, like camera stuff, and I found this very, very, very effective. And yeah. Another piece of research that I did was my location recce's. So I basically just, in the location recce, I wrote where I was filming, the angles I intended on using in that specific destination, and all the relevant information that needed to be there, such as like the site number, the access issues, if the electricity was working, if food would be provided, if parking was there, if the lighting was alright, if there was any noise or ambient, or indoor noise pollution or outdoor noise pollution, etc. Everything that needed to be known by people that I was filming. I've also got the risk assessment. The risk assessment was very, very essential for me to fill out, because without the risk assessment form, it would have been very, very hard for me to film anything, because I hadn't filled it out. I wouldn't know the scale factor of the risks that may have arose. And I'm very happy I did this as well. I basically wrote whether things are very unlikely or likely or very likely to happen, such as these hazards here. My shot list was very, very, very detailed. I wrote when it was gonna happen, like where the filming would take place, what shot I was gonna use, what was gonna be in the shot, yeah, the time, the area, everything that needed to be done. So yeah, that is the shot list. I've also got a call sheet that is completed. This call sheet is basically for the interviewers that I was interviewing. Yeah, the times that they needed to be at the destination, where the destination is, how to get there, etc. I feel like I was very, very organized with my planning and production. I knew exactly what needed to be done, seeing as I had done this many, many times before in the past in other previous projects. I enjoyed doing my production paperwork because, as I said before, it was very easy. I knew what needed to be done, so it went by very, very swiftly. Everything got done efficiently, and I also learned a few things about the areas I was going to be filming in, such as when I did my location recce, I also found out some information about the area that I didn't know about before, such as like historic information of Barnet, yeah, and stuff like that. In terms of my filming process, so if I go to I believe my filming process was very good. It was up to a good standard. I knew exactly how to use the camera, what buttons needed to be pressed, how to set up a tripod, how to set up all the equipment that I used basically, which was very, very good. It helped my project to run very, very smoothly. It didn't mean that there was a delay. It didn't mean that I had, any cause to get a new camera or anything, because I knew exactly how to use the camera and all the equipment that was provided. Moving on to my Wix page. This is my Wix page. It's designed specifically for my FMP. There's 3 subheadings. So we've got the information part, where I basically talked about what I had done and what this project was going to be about. The homepage is basically an image of the church that I used. This is where all of the information was gathered. This is where I did the main interview with the bishop. And yeah, I thought this image was very, very nice as well. It kind of sets the scene. It relates specifically to the project that I was doing. Obviously the information part, and then we've got the media folder, which contains my final edit, my rough edit, and the workshops that I did to help me perform to the best of my ability. So my final video is 5 minutes and 45 seconds long. And if I skim through it, I use a range of different shots. So I used long shots, I used mid shots, I used some close-up shots as well, such as here. I used a lot of other close-up shots, such as here. And I just used a variety of different shots. And the reason why I used a lot of different shots is because initially I hadn't used as many, and then from the research that I had received back, so from the questionnaires that I sent out, people said that they didn't see a variety of shots, which meant that the production may have been boring for them. So after getting this feedback, I realized that if I didn't want to make my production boring, I had to switch it up a bit and change it significantly. So originally I had only had mid shots. I'd had just a bunch of mid shots. I didn't really have any close-ups. Yeah, there wasn't a range. And then I decided to film some more and get the best possible like shots that I could. I got some from below, and I just got a load of B-roll shots. If I go to my reflective journals, so I did my reflective journals week by week. I enjoyed doing my reflective journals because it basically helped me keep on top of what I was doing. It was kind of like a reality check, and it was a good journal to write in because not only did I write about what I did in the day, I talked about how I felt during that week. I talked about how I managed to get things done, what issues I faced, and I really enjoyed it because it felt like I was kind of like, it was very easy for me to do. It wasn't like I had to write things that needed to be heard. It was things that I felt, my opinions, evaluation of my strengths and weaknesses, and how I felt during the week, not only like work related, but how I felt like mentally and physically. Say for instance, if I was sick, I would write it in my reflective journal. And yeah, it was very, very enjoyable to do my reflective journal. And there is that. I think that in terms of my reflective journal, I did face a lot of difficulties. So there was a lot of days that were left unfilled. But due to the fact that I had a very, very detailed schedule, as I said in the beginning, this kind of surpassed all of that, and it helped me to, fill out the bits that needed filling out. It helped me to write what needed to be written because I had already written it up previously. It was just a matter of fact of me looking back at the schedule and remembering what I did and writing up about it, which was very, very convenient for me. In terms of successes, my reflective journals are quite detailed. They don't ramble on. I give myself at least 3 targets for the next lesson or the next week. I'm trying to see like what I'm trying to achieve. So overall, I'm very, very happy with the project. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with the project that I have done. I feel like it's very effective. It reached the right audiences, and it isn't too much. Like it's an informative documentary. It helps people to understand things that they may not have known before. It's there to educate people. That was the main focus for me, and I believe that I achieved this. If I could change anything about the whole FMP in general, it would be the fact that I wasn't really good at timekeeping. I tried my best to keep on top of things, but it kind of came down at one point, and work just wasn't getting done. And yeah, I managed to all fix it in the end. However, it was a bit rushed, which did reflect in the final work that was done. If I could change anything, I would probably say I would change the rate at which I worked at. I was very on and off with my work. I procrastinated quite a lot. However, the end product was exactly what I intended on achieving when I had first written my proposal. So yeah, thank you for listening.